Hi everyone, Meryl Davis here. This is, of course, if you were here the first time, this is my second attempt at this live. This is my first time going live, so the technical side of things is challenging me just a little bit. We just finished the men's figure skating event at the 2021 World Figure Skating Championships, and we are lucky enough to be about to go live with the one and only Nathan CHEN, who just won his third consecutive world title. Incredibly exciting. So we are waiting for Nathan to request, and I actually think that I am going to invite Nathan because that is probably so I just invited Nathan to go live, so I hope we are going to be joined by Nathan very soon. Yes, okay. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Let me know where you're joining in from. If you had the opportunity to watch this incredible event, what an incredible event. I mean, that was just some tremendous figure skating today. And how lucky are we to get to see this in such a challenging year, of course. So like I said, we're just waiting to be joined by now reigning and three-time world figure skating champion, Nathan CHEN. Yes, thank you for joining. My name is Meryl Davis. I'm going to be chatting with the one and only Nathan CHEN today. Super excited. I know he is going to be available to join very shortly. Yes, so proud of Nathan. I know it was amazing. I'm seeing people coming in from Argentina, Korea, the US. There you are, Nathan. Hi.
Hey, sorry about that.
I apologize. It's completely my fault, you know, technical difficulties, but congratulations on your third world title. Amazing.
Nice.
Yes, and thank you for bearing with me here because
No, absolutely.
my first time doing a live. So you have just come off of this incredible event, just an hour or two, you know, out of your long program. One of the most incredible figure skating programs I've ever seen, period. But talk us through how you're feeling. I mean, your third consecutive world title. I mean, that's just tremendous. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm elated right now. I'm so happy. It may not always look like that, but no, deep down inside, I'm actually quite happy. You know, after the short program, medals weren't even really something that I was considering. I just wanted to go out there and just truly enjoy myself. You know, I don't get many opportunities to do this, so the fact that I'm here, that I had this opportunity, I wanted to, you know, make the most of it, and so happy that I was able to do whatever I needed to do. And I wanted, my goal in this competition in the long program was just to be able to leave the long program feeling, you know, satisfied and happy with my performance, and I was able to do that. So as of now, you know, I'm very happy.
As you should be, unsurprisingly. I mean, making history. And I mean, that program, I felt, as someone, of course, who's watched you skate many times, I felt that you seemed like you were in the zone from the very beginning. So I'm eager to hear from you if it felt that way, you know, especially coming out of the short program, you know, what you were looking to do in the long, and then, you know, just talking us through your thought process today.
Absolutely. I found myself to be quite calm, which is sort of unusual for competitions. Generally, I'm like quite sort of jittery and nervous, but I just felt, you know, more like at peace with whatever happened. I was okay with whatever result came out of this competition, whether I made mistakes, whether I didn't make mistakes. I just wanted to be here and be happy with the fact that I'm able to compete. And I think having that sort of switch in mentality from the short program, where I was like very just like, you know, I have to make these, I have to do these jumps, I have to do all this stuff, put me in a better position mentally. And I think that's so important. You know, this game is more than half mental when it comes to competition. We train physically to be ready for these competitions, but mentally, you know, it's just like figuring out keys and switches to make sure that like by the time that you're there, you're able to perform as best as you can. So, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm really happy, and I'm also, you know, credit doesn't just belong to me. You know, like my team and all the people that have helped me get here deserve all the credit as well. So, you know, I'm really lucky to be able to have such great people and so many people helping me and all of that.
Yeah, great perspective, as always. For those of you who are just joining us, of course, we are live, and so we are now joined by three-time consecutive reigning world champion Nathan CHEN, who just an hour or two ago won his third world title in the men's figure skating event at the 2021 World Figure Skating Championships in Stockholm, Sweden. And Nathan, you just mentioned your team. I know for a few years you were training you know, a lot of the time solo when you were going to school at Yale, you're taking a bit of time away from school now, and you're back at your training facility in California. And
Correct.
particularly in this challenging year, coming into these world championships with, you know, everything going on in the world, what has returning to that environment with your you know, your training mates I know you're so close with done for you to prepare for these world championships?
Yeah, absolutely. I think having a sense of family within the rink is extremely important to being able to have motivation to come in, to be able to continue, working away. Training sometimes gets kind of monotonous, and like not having, and to not have, people that you love at the rink with you, makes that really challenging. So I'm extremely lucky to have, people, great athletes that are exceptional in what they do, as well as great people that are, always there whenever I need them. They're physically there, mentally there. They're always very, very helpful, and it's great to be able to have that sort of training atmosphere, which I was definitely lacking when I was not in California. Not to say that my training wasn't good there. I was so lucky to be able to have the opportunity to train on campus on the rink, the hockey rink at my school, as well as having another facility very close by that had the ice time that I needed to still maintain what I had to do for competition. So, I was really lucky with that. But, not having Mariah, not having Michael Brzezina, it was just different. So now that I'm back at home with everyone, and of course, Raphael, I can't leave him out. It's great. It's great to have that, and it definitely changes my focus a little bit more. Which pros and cons with everything. Everything that you do, there's always going to be a good and a bad out of it. The pros of being at school is then I could completely divert my mind into something that wasn't skating related all the time. Whereas that's not necessarily the case now. But of course, now having a little bit more focus on skating could also be good. So always pros and cons. But I'm really, really blessed to have what I have now.
Absolutely. Well, and speaking sort of in that same vein about the pros and cons, we're so lucky to have had these world championships. I mean, especially, looking at what you accomplished today, how exciting that these championships were able to happen, given everything, that's been happening in the world. But like you talked about your training environment at home, and I imagine experiencing the World Figure Skating Championships or experiencing a competition in these unique times is so different from what we're accustomed to. So can you talk through a little bit about the experience of competing in this bubble in Stockholm, how it might be different from what you're used to, and, does it affect your mentality at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the third competition that I've competed in a bubble. And while it's sad to not have all the audience and that energy and that sort of competition atmosphere. I'm so blessed to be able to go to a competition like this, compete at the World Championships, which is like the most hyped event within a normal year. And without competitions, it's from the athlete's perspective, it's like, well, what are we training for? Like we train every single day and work so hard to be able to go to these competitions, to be able to show like what our work has been done or what work we've been putting in. So not having that in the season was, a little disappointing. But at the same time, I've been truly inspired by all the people that have been fighting so hard to just survive during these times. It's been so challenging for so many people. And as an athlete, where my main focus or main, troubles come from, whether or not I'm able to land a jump or able to do whatever, these are all like trivial things that like really, based upon or like compared against the sort of climate that everyone else is dealing with, it's just like uncomparable. So I can't really complain. I'm just blessed to be able to train, be able to compete at these events, and yeah, it's just truly, truly awesome for me.
Well, we're all lucky to be able to watch you, and I think one of the incredible things about sport is it does bring joy and entertainment and wonderful things to people around the world. So I imagine I speak for many, many people, not just in this chat, but around the world, when I say how much joy and how exciting it was to just watch you soar today. And this is your third world title. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Does it feel different than the first two at all? And if so, how does it feel different?
It feels a little bit different regarding the fact that it was done in a bubble. Having people brings a sort of different level of energy, both nervous energy and exciting energy. So it kind of goes both ways. But ultimately, it's still World Championship. You're still competing against the best in the world. So it's really cool to be able to have this opportunity for myself. And it still means a lot. But yeah, I mean, a world is a world. That's the best way to put it. I'm really happy with the results and happy that I got the chance to be here.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, of course, competing with the best in the world, and we have a newcomer. I mean, just the incredible Yuma Kagiyama from Japan coming in second in his first ever World Championships, and then, of course, two-time Olympic champion legend Yuzuru Hanyu coming in third. And I know you just finished your free program at the World Championships, and you're very much in this moment, I'm sure. But looking ahead, there won't be that many opportunities to skate against these incredible athletes, and namely Yuzuru, ahead of the 2022 games. And so for you, does competing against, as you mentioned, these top athletes in the world, does it change your mentality as opposed to other competitions? Or just having that opportunity, does the strategy change from one competition to the next?
I think yes. I mean, short answer, yes. Strategy does change. But that also being said, you can't discredit some of the talent that we have in the U.S. Of course, the results, may not have been played out exactly as expected, but my apologies. I'm plugging my phone.
Oh, you're back. That's okay.
My phone is about to die, so I just plugged in my phone.
Okay, great.
Anyways, okay, I'm back. So yeah, I mean, we have great. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have great skating in the U.S. and relative to U.S. nationals, of course, it's going to be more challenging at a world competition. But every competition, whether it be in the U.S. or whether it be international, is always going to be challenging. Every single skater brings so much to the table. Everyone has such an individual quality to the skating, and you can't discredit that in any regard. So it's always an honor and a blessing to be able to compete against guys like Yuzuru, someone who I've looked up to for forever, who's really just, set the benchmark for what skating should look like. And even now, I continue to look up to him. I continue to learn from him. Every single time I have these opportunities, I'm trying obviously to focus on what I'm doing, but also, out of the corner of my eye, be like, how do they do that? That's so crazy. And just, it's so inspiring. And now watching these up and coming athletes like Yuma Kagiyama, who bring so much energy and just excitement to the table that, we don't necessarily get bored of the skating, but it's always interesting to have new people come up and show us how they do it and, how they're going to step us up. So it's pretty interesting. And I think it's always as an athlete, we're always trying to improve. And so to have, these people come in and just show us how it's done, show us how it's done is great. Even if they're, the first year senior or, 10th year senior, there's so much that you can learn from these athletes. So it's always great.
It was a particularly incredible event to watch, the depth of the field. And I'm curious, you talked a little bit about the bubble, but in terms of getting to see, the other people competing or, maybe not necessarily sitting in the dining room eating with, the other athletes, how is the experience of competing in the bubble different? And does it impact the way that you take to the ice?
I think being in the bubble does have some impact, I think, in regards to how you feel at a regular competition. However, for the most part, within the dining halls and, being able to see athletes all around, you will see people, you'll bump into people all the time. Everyone will be out and about doing their own things. Of course, we're all wearing masks, so we can't see each other's faces, but, just being around other athletes that you haven't seen for a long time is really nice and very refreshing. And of course, safety is kind of our number one thing. So everyone's trying to be hyper vigilant about that as well. And we're trying to do our best to stay healthy for this competition. But yeah, I think that due to the fact that, maybe time with other skaters is limited, you definitely lose a little bit of that social aspect. But at the same time, everyone's kind of here to compete. They're trying to do their best on the ice, and with or without social time, we're still going to try to do our best, and that doesn't take away from that.
How did you occupy your time when you were there? I mean, obviously the experience, like you said, is a little bit different. So in terms of your time between practices and competition, do you treat it any differently than you usually do? Or, did you bring your guitar with you? How were you spending your time in Stockholm when you weren't on the ice?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the hotel or in the bubble, we have a little sliver of outdoor space. So I've been trying to spend a little bit of time out there to get some fresh air, because the rest of the time I've been cooped up in my room. And beyond that, just getting rest, recovery. Competitions are long, so we try to keep our energy up. And it's nice because, relative to a regular training week, we're going to be spending a lot more time resting, which honestly feels great. And then, in the meantime, I brought my guitar. I recently got into electric guitars. I'm quite the amateur and very much not good at that, but I really like it, and it's fun to do. So I brought, actually my brother has a really old cheap electric guitar, and so I brought that with me as well as like a little baby amp. Hopefully not annoying my neighbors too much, but it's been nice to have that as well. And then beyond that, just resting, reading, watching Netflix, perusing social.
What are you watching? What are you reading, if you don't mind sharing? I'm sure people would love to hear.
As for reading, so I am taking a gap from school, but I'm still like I've forgotten everything that I've learned essentially. So I'm trying to go back and like reread some of the material that I've learned, plus like maybe some of the material that I will be needing to learn. So most of that is like quite, like logistics school stuff. So nothing super adventurous right now in reading. As for watching, it's kind of a mix of things. Like YouTube, I like to watch guitar related things. On Netflix, Netflix and Hulu are different from what's available in the US, but How I Met Your Mother is available on Netflix here in Sweden, so I've been watching that.
That's a great show. I love that you're brushing up on everything for school. Not surprising. And I mean, that's what it takes to balance and achieve what it is you're doing, which is, it's just so commendable. To go back to your long program today, like I said, it really seemed from the viewer's perspective like you're in the zone from the beginning, but after that last jumping pass, you could just see the elation, and watching through the screen, I could just feel your excitement and your energy, and just, I mean, it was pretty moving. So what was that feeling like, and when you finished that last jumping pass, what was going through your head?
Thanks. I mean, you were spot on with that. In practice, I had been okay with my consistency. Some of my jumps were here or there, so I was really happy that I was able to hit all of my jumps. And actually this morning I did the run through and ate it on that last axle. I fell quite hard. So that kind of messed with my head a little bit, and I was a little worried about that. So the fact that I was able to hit the axle after, making a mistake like that, just felt great. And so I think what you saw was just me being thrilled about hitting my axle, and then trying to quickly recalibrate so that I don't lose points on my spins. But yeah, I was so happy in that moment.
Amazing. Congratulations again. I'm sure we have people still joining, and I'm getting notifications that you have another engagement in just a couple minutes. So I have a couple more questions for you. I would love to take a handful of fan questions. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have the opportunity to chat with Nathan just after his long program and his third consecutive win at the World Figure Skating Championships. So please send in your questions, anything you're dying to know. Please go ahead and send them in, and we can hopefully get Nathan to answer a few of them before he heads off to his next interview. And as I ask you my next question, as you answer, I will look through some of these questions to try to pick out a few. But of course, like I said, I know you're just coming off of these World Championships, and perhaps thinking ahead to next season is not on your mind yet, but the Olympics are just, 11 months away. Have you thought at all about the Olympic season, especially going into your second Olympic experience after Pyeongchang in 2018? What will you be taking with you from that first Olympic experience, and what do you have planned sort of in your preparation for the 2022 games?
Right. So I think relative to time, 10 months is pretty short, or 10-ish months is pretty short. But relative to the season, it's quite far away, since we just about wrapping up with this season. And then we have a couple months before camp starts and all of the regular competitions of next season, as of course Meryl. But so I think, as of this moment, I don't really quite have plans yet. But, within the next short period of time, we'll start, just reflecting on the season, this strange season, and seeing whatever I can take away from it. And then just sort of do a very rough plan for next season. It's also difficult to plan right now, just given that we don't know what the season will look like next season. We don't really know whether competitions will be normal, if we're going to have full season, if we're going to have a reduced season like this season. So all of these things are, all these variables are things that we have to consider when planning for the next season, for the Olympic season. But ultimately, I'm really, really excited to have another shot at making an Olympic team and potentially skating at the Olympics again. The Olympics are such a cool experience, so I would love to have that happen again. So just looking forward to it.
Well, we're very much looking forward to cheering you on. I'm going to combine a couple fan questions that I was just reading. Some people were asking about what type of advice you have for young skaters. And I want to ask you, I mean, whether you're a skater, you're a different type of athlete, or really anything in life, going from an experience that is perhaps slightly less than perfect, you had a difficult short program here at the World Championships, and then you came back to just achieve, an incredible long program and win your third championship. So what advice would you have to, I guess, athletes, to young athletes, in terms of approaching, the mentality of overcoming a challenge and delivering, the next day?
Thanks. I think there's a few responses to that question. I think, first of all, as like a young athlete coming up, I think it's important to surround yourself with people that have either experienced it or is, hungry to experience what it's like to go to these competitions or whatever. Of course, every sport's different and they have their own, sort of prestigious competitions, but whatever those may be, people that like are hungry to, or have the desire to get there. I grew up in skating, and I started skating when I was 3 years old. As a three-year-old, I don't know if you really truly have concrete desires. You're just kind of like doing what you're told. But of course, my family was always there and always had input and always tried to, protect me, as well as try to, improve upon my skating as much as they could, or help me in whatever ways they could, and I truly appreciate that. So I think that was my first team, and then as I got more involved with skating, became more competitive. I found a great coach to work with, a great off-ice trainer to work with. There's a whole bunch of other variables, a whole bunch of other people that are involved with each team. Like the athlete seems to be like the only one out there, but behind them there are like 10, 20 people that are helping them out as well. So I think that's a really important thing to be able to have, as well as being able to openly communicate with them and tell them how you're feeling, how you're really feeling, and things that you need to do to adjust. I've been trying to talk to the people on my team as well to try to figure out, what is the best approach for this competition? Like, what should I be worrying about? What should I not be worrying about? And all these things, I think, definitely helps me put myself in the right mindset, as well as, attack the long program in a good way. And yeah, I think that's basically the bottom line, open communication and surround yourself with great people.
Yeah. And you're such an incredible role model for athletes and people anywhere, really. And that's one of the things I've always admired most about you, on top of, every incredible thing you do on the ice. Okay, 2 more questions, and then I'm going to let you go. A lot of people are really curious to know if you've had the opportunity to talk to your family yet. And if so, what was their reaction to you winning your third title?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just been texting them since I've been bouncing around from media to media, as well as doing the lovely doping post-competition. So I haven't really had
Fun.
A lot of time to, I haven't had much time to talk to them, but I've been texting them briefly, and they're all very excited and very happy for me. And, I definitely feel that. And I think my sister commented in the chat earlier too, so I saw her, which is really cute. Yeah, my family is always there for me, and I know that they're always going to be there for me. So, and, honestly, I think what's even more important is that they're there for me after my short program, to help pick me up for the long program. And, definitely makes it much easier for me to get going with them by my side.
Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel, the weight of how important that is. That's really beautiful. Okay, last question. This is obviously a very lighthearted one, but we've had quite a few people asking what Nathan's favorite animal is. So Nathan, what is your favorite animal?
I'm a huge animal fan. There's not like any specific animal. I really like dogs. But yeah, I'm happy with all animals. Actually, when I was a kid, I wanted to work with animals, and maybe not necessarily as a vet, but I loved animals. Maybe I was really into marine biology. So, but as of now, all animals are cute. I like dogs.
Oh, I love that. Well, Nathan, I know you have something else coming up very shortly, so I'm going to let you go get ready for that. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And Nathan, I can't thank you enough for taking the time just after this incredible win. Your third consecutive world title, it's so amazing. So congratulations from all of us. And I hope you enjoy living in this moment and take in the experience.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for the support.
Thank you, Nathan. Bye.
Thanks. See you, Meryl. Bye.
you.